to continue and to lead you through the panel discussion, I will now call my colleague and friend, Mr. Joseph Opoku Gakpo, who is a journalist and who will guide you through the panel. Thank you, Joseph.
Jesse, thanks very much to Professor Dankwa, to Madam Juliet, and to Dr. Ansah. Many thanks for making time to join us for this conversation. We would get into the panel conversation in a while, but just to set the basis for the conversation, I'm a journalist, so I'm a storyteller. Listening to the whole conversation around the theme of this particular event, building integrated and resilient food systems in Ghana. A lot of big words there, just to break it down a bit. And for me, when we discuss resilience when it comes to the food systems in the country, my focus is usually on the farmer. And they are the people who are growing the food, so then it's expected that they should be the focus. So as a storyteller, I would want to tell you all about two farmer friends that I have. One of them is called Yao. He grows a 1.5-acre cornfield. He has a bit of yam and a bit of beans on the farm. He has his farm in the Techiman area, right here in the Bono region. The other one, Jacob, he has a very huge farm, like 220 acres. He grows a bit of corn, he grows a bit of mango, he grows a bit of cocoa, he has yam, he has vegetables. You know, all these are scattered across the country, including in the Techiman enclave. Now, what we see is that Jacob ends up consuming, well, somewhere around just less than 0.01% of all the produce that he has on his farms. Yeah, on the other hand, ends up consuming more than 30% of his produce, and then he sells off the rest to then raise money to do all the other things that's expected of himself in terms of taking care of his family and all. Now, in 2015, Ghana was hit by a drought of a sort, if you don't recall. We had a situation where, particularly in the middle belt of the country, there was the first rain that actually fell. The farmers went ahead and did their planting in those areas in the country. And then for close to 3 months, we hadn't seen the subsequent rains falling, particularly in the middle belt of the country. I saw this at first hand because then I traveled across the country to produce a documentary that I joined you with titled Lost Harvest, kind of highlighting how this impacted the activities that farmers undertake and the country's food security generally. Now, when this situation arose, Yao, who is the smallholder farmer, responded to this situation by gathering his friends, and they did a prayer session on a Friday afternoon, a big Muslim prayer session, to then call on God to let the rain fall. That's how Yao and his colleagues actually responded to this. On the other hand, Jacob recruited an agricultural consultant, a guy who was trained right here at the University of Ghana, to then guide him through how to deal with those challenges with regards to the climate situation. What did we see at the end of all of this? Yao, first of all, had to then go ahead and sell off his most prized possessions, his watches, his jewelry, to then raise money to replant after the crops failed. He couldn't take his 10-year-old son to school because of lack of finances, and eventually he abandoned farming and relocated to Accra to then work as a waiter at a local restaurant. On the other hand, Jacob, who has the 220-acre farm, he drew on his savings at the Ghana Commercial Bank. He invested in a lot of irrigation facilities. His consultant advised him that if he wants to do the planting again, there are certain specific climate resilient varieties that he should grow. So then he ended up doing that. And by the end of the year that followed, Jacob had actually expanded on his profits. He had built a big house at the East Legon suburb right here in Accra, and then he had doubled his savings. So what did we see happen? Yao, who is a smallholder farmer, virtually fell through the cracks when the drought hit. But then Jacob, on the other hand, took advantage of the climate situation to then fix the challenges with his business and ended up doubling his profit. And he's a richer man today. He's consolidated his gains as far as Ghana's agricultural sector is concerned. And so when we think of resilience, for me, this is what resilience looks like. Yao had almost zero resilience as far as his farming activities are concerned. Jacob, on the other hand, the story was very much different. For farmers like Yao, they are virtually sitting on the cliff. When the weather slaps them a bit with, the weather situations, they fall into the valley, and then they struggle to climb up subsequently. Well, how can we deal with some of these challenges going forward? My quick recommendations would be that we should see a situation where there is more government investment in smallholder agriculture specifically. we should have the private sector do more than just corporate social responsibility in terms of their support for farmers and approach it in a more integrated manner in terms of the kind of support that farmers should get in dealing with some of these challenges. And then I think, again, we should see some of those commercially viable farmers being committed enough to support their smallholder colleagues to then get out of the valley so that then it's a system that actually works for all of us as far as the agricultural sector is concerned. I'm very clear in my mind that these suggestions don't even constitute 1% of the possible solutions to these challenges that I speak of and that we've had at this reference. And that's why at this juncture, I would invite a number of folks who are more knowledgeable in the field to help us with a conversation on this. Anthony Morrison is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Agribusiness. Anthony Morrison is also a farmer himself. He's joining us on the panel to then have a conversation about this. Not just him, Dr. Beatrice Efe is a plant breeder. She's a scientist right here at the West African Center for Crop Improvement at the University of Ghana. Dr. Beatrice Efe has been working on some of these climate resilient varieties that could possibly help our farmers deal with some of these challenges when it comes to the environment and how they could then get out of the valley and be more sustainable farmers. Another farmer is joining us on the panel. Of course, it's Farmers' Day that's approaching just tomorrow, so we would want to dedicate a large chunk of the conversation to farmers specifically rather than the others. So another farmer friend of mine is joining us. Nana Ejiaya is a rice farmer, and he's also president of the Ghana Rice Interprofessional Body. Nana, thanks very much. We know these are busy times for you. You should probably be on your way to Cape Coast by now, but you've made time to join us for this conversation. Many thanks for making the time. And Dr. Dorothy Efa is Programs Officer in charge of policy and advocacy right here at the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa. Dr. Efa is also joining us for this conversation. So then what do we have here? We have a policy person, we have a civil society person, and we have a farmer as well on the panel, and then we have a scientist also joining us for this conversation over the next 45 minutes or so. My good friends, many thanks to all of you for joining us for this conversation. I'll begin with you, Anthony Morrison, who is Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Agribusiness. And my initial question will be, broadly, how do we build that resilience? How do we create the Jacob kind of farmers out of the Yao kind of farmers who have that vast resilience and are able to support not just themselves, but their communities when it comes to producing the food that we need in order to ensure food security as a people?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for this invitation. Let me first of all applaud Agra and Waki for organizing the side event with regards to the National Farmers' Day. For me, I think that most importantly, what we have failed to do over the years is to collaborate and strengthen our partnerships. Collaboration